And good morning once again, my brothers and sisters. What a great privilege it is for me to be with you again. Thank you for tuning in to another Living Hope Today study. We got through some of our technical issues yesterday, so we'll keep going forward now into Judges chapter 14. Samson has been introduced through a miraculous birth organized by the angel of God, who turns out to be God himself, as Manoah and his wife present the Lord with an offering, and he goes up he ascends in the smoke of the offering. Okay, so it has to be now at least a decade or more later where Samson actually appears on the scene. But there's a key verse in the story of Samson. You know, we like to look at him and say, man, how could a guy that was so called by God mess up in so many ways? Well, wait till we get to that verse, and I'll show you what the Lord has to say about it. When you get to verse 1 in chapter 14, it tells us Samson went down to Timnah, and there what does he do? He sees a young Philistine woman. Okay, Samson has an eye for the ladies. He sees a Philistine woman. Now, we know that all of Israel's heritage is don't intermarry with the pagan cultures that are in the promised land. It's been stated, restated, overstated, stated so many times. Who could miss it? Samson? He doesn't care. When he returned, he said to his father and mother, I have seen a Philistine woman in Timnah. Now, get her as my wife. Get her for me. Now, we see that parents arranged marriages back in the day. They still do in many parts of the world. So Samson goes home and says, this is the woman I want. His father and mother replied. Again, they understand. Remember Manoah, he fears the Lord, right? He thought he was going to die just because he talked to the Lord. Well, isn't there an acceptable woman among your relatives or among all our people? Must you go to the uncircumcised Philistines to get a wife? Hey, Samson, you're violating all that the Lord has said. You're way outside of protocol here. Don't do it. But Samson said to his father, get her for me. She's the right one for me. Samson's not interested in what God has warned or said. He knows what he wants. He takes some action to get what he wants. His parents did not know this. Oh, here's the verse. His parents did not know that this was what? This was from the Lord. Really? You mean God is helping Samson understand that he wants that Philistine woman, that he's going to go outside of the bounds of what God has warned? God is in it when Samson wants to marry this Philistine lady? Well, why? It says he was seeking an occasion to confront the Philistines. For at that time they were ruling over Israel. You remember they had been ruling over them for 40 years. This is a sequence where we don't get that usual sequence of blessing, disobedience, then repentance, then deliverance. In this case, we don't hear anything about Israel repenting as they suffer under the bondage of the Philistines. Instead, we see the Lord initiate a move without even understanding whether his people are repenting or not. The Lord wants to do something. What does he want to do? He wants to confront the Philistines. That's what he wants to do. And he's going to use Samson. He's even going to use Samson's disobedience to confront them, to attack them. Samson went down to Timnah together with his father and mother. As they approached the vineyards of Timnah, suddenly a young lion came roaring toward him. Now the Lord is going to show us that Samson has supernatural, or at least highly skilled strength. The Spirit of the Lord came upon him in power. So what are we told? We're told that God now empowers Samson to do what? So that he tore the lion apart with his bare hands, as he might have torn a young goat. But he told neither his father nor his mother what he had done. In other words, as he's walking, he exhibits this huge amount of strength and, we might mention as well, courage, as he destroys this wild beast that, lions, what do they do with people? They eat them. Not Samson. He tears this lion apart. Wow. And then he went down and talked with the woman, and he liked her. So we continue to see two things happening. Samson is demonstrating supernatural capabilities because the Spirit of God is on him. Samson is also going out of bounds. Even though the Lord is prompting it, he's trying to marry this Philistine woman. So, okay. Sometime later, he went back to marry her. All right, so the deal's been struck. It's time to get married. He turned aside to look at the lion's carcass. It was a swarm of bees and some honey, which he scooped out with his hands and ate as he went along. Interesting. So the carcass of the lion has rotted. The bees have taken over and produced honey, so it's been a while. And on his way back, he comes across this carcass. He eats honey out of the carcass. When he rejoined his parents, he gave them some, and they too ate it, but he did not tell them that he had taken the honey from the lion's carcass. Why does this detail matter to us? Well, we'll see right now. Now his father went down to see the woman, and Samson made a feast there, as was customary for bridegrooms, and when he appeared, he was given 30 companions. So we're told 30 guys are now, I guess, like Samson's bridesmen. Well, let me tell you a riddle, Samson said to them. If you can give me the answer within the 7 days of the feast, I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 sets of clothes. If you can't tell me the answer, you must give me 30 linen garments and 30 sets of clothes. Tell us your riddle, they said. Let's hear it. So we see Samson presenting a challenge to the Philistines. Okay, not too much in it yet. Listen, he says, he replied, out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet. For 3 days I could not give the answer. Okay, now here we go. This is now the seed that we'll watch grow through the rest of Samson's story. On the 4th day, they said to Samson's wife, okay, so now they're going to her, coax your husband into explaining the riddle for us, or we will burn you and your father's household to death. Well, that's not very nice. Did you invite us here to rob us? Okay, so we can't solve the riddle, and we're going to kill you if you can't do our recon for us and go into Samson's room and figure out what the riddle is. You need to tell us. Well, under threat of the death of her family, she succumbs to the blackmail. Then Samson's wife threw herself on him, sobbing, "Oh, you hate me. You don't really love me. You've given my people a riddle, but you haven't told me the answer. I haven't even explained it to my father or mother," he replied. "Why should I explain it to you?" Here we see the seeds of what will eventually become Samson's demise. But then again, if you look at the whole story, his demise eventually leads him to destroying many of the leaders of the Philistines. Okay, well, she's making her case. She cried the whole 7 days of the feast. So obviously she doesn't want her family to be murdered. And so she's pleading with him. So on the 7th day, he finally told her, because she continued to press him. There it is. He finally told her. Okay. She in turn explained the riddle to her people, and before sunset on the 7th day, the men of the town said to him, "What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?" So what are the answers to the riddle? Honey and the lion. And where did Samson get that riddle? From his experience of killing the lion and having the bees form a hive within the carcass and produce honey. So Samson said to them, "If you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle." I guess that's code for if you hadn't threatened the life of my wife and her family and sent her to do your work for you, you would have never got the answer. Well, Samson is ready to punish the Philistines for their deception. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon him in power. So underneath this whole story is the idea that God is going to use Samson, even though he's out of bounds in terms of pursuing his Philistine woman, even though he doesn't have any sort of discernment to understand that his wife might be working against him. He still is telling her secrets as she pleads. Even though all those subplots are running, the main thing is God is going to teach the Philistines a lesson. He's going to use Samson to do it. He comes on Samson in power right here. He went down to Ashkelon, which is on the Mediterranean coast. He struck down 30 of their men. Remember, he had promised that if they'd guess the riddle, he would deliver 30 garments to those 30 guys. So he goes and kills 30 people in Ashkelon. He stripped them of their belongings and gave their clothes to those who explained the riddle. Ooh, burning in anger, he went up to his father's house. Okay, so what do we see here? Samson's a no-nonsense guy. You want to deceive me? I'm going to kill somebody, and I'll keep my bargain. I'll fulfill the riddle at the expense of 30 lives of your guys. And it says here, he's still burning with anger. And as this chapter ends, it says, and Samson's wife, was given to the friend who had attended him at his wedding. So now those that coaxed the answer to the riddle out of Samson's wife, they now take her and give her to somebody else. You're gonna see Samson react to that for sure. But just notice in the story how phenomenal this story really is, because God is using these evil circumstances, these things that God says he doesn't want, this intermarriage, this idea that Samson's so easily deceived and allows himself to be betrayed. It's all working to defeat the people that think they are defeating Samson. Interesting, isn't it? God, let's see, what is it that Luther says? The devil is God's devil. God knows how to use evil to accomplish his purpose. Chew on that today, church. It's a profound concept. I pray God uses your life today, and I pray you serve him well. God bless you, church.
Who is it who for sinners shed his blood, and now for cleansing all can plunge beneath that flood? It's Jesus. But do you know who he is? He's the image of the invisible God, and he's the brightness of his glory, the first, the last, the future, the past. He is God.